Now we have the language of thought hypothesis, which may help us to understand the concepts and meaning in our languages. This language of thought hypothesis clearly rejects the idea of linguistic relativity, because most of cognitive science rejects the essential relationship between language and thought. They consider it a fallacy to assume that there is an essential or inextricable relationship between language and thought, and assuming that we cannot have a thought without language probably is misleading, according to many scientists working in the field of cognitive sciences. They forward two kinds of major argument in order to support their stance. First is that there is evidence of thinking without language, and secondly, they say that language probably underspecifies the meaning. Pinker has been one of the leading figures, and he provides us various kinds of evidences to support these point of views. Let's have a look at them. He argues that we have the evidence of thought process in which various processes like remembering and reasoning exist in the creatures who do not have a language but still has the capacity of thinking. For example, among human babies and primates, they don't have a clear language, but they still have the ability to remember and to reason in their own way. So that probably leads us to think that language is not always necessary for developing a thinking process, or language is not always there to influence our thinking. Similarly, artists and scientists also claim that their creativity sometimes derives from the ideas which are non-linguistic. So it's not the language which always gives them inspiration or the thoughts based on which they develop a new piece of art or new piece of science. Their creativity might be a result of some ideas or images which are well beyond our linguistic world. Therefore, based on such evidence, the scientists, especially the cognitive scientists, they seem to argue that we might develop ideas which do not depend on our spoken languages, for example, Urdu, Punjabi, English, or Arabic. Rather, they depend on certain computational system in human mind, or we can roughly call it a language of thought. Second argument in the support of these scientists emerges from our endeavors to develop or understand meanings in semantics and pragmatics. And we always think that that language underspecifies the meaning. We probably have richer ideas, richer meanings in our mind, in our thoughts which we want to convey, but we are always compromised by the choice of our words. Most of the time, or sometimes with some human beings, we do not have enough words or the words suitable enough to convey those ideas. Most of the times in emotional situations, you might have heard the expressions like, I don't have words to explain this. I mean, the emotion or the feeling or the idea which is inside the mind do not find enough language or good enough language to say it. Therefore, we could assume that language underspecifies the meaning. So, meaning is richer than language in our daily communication. These different types of arguments are often taken into cognitive science, and this leads us to believe that there is a language of thought which may be different from our spoken or written language, which we call as Arabic, Urdu, Punjabi, etc. And this language of thought may be called as Mentalese by various scholars. When we want to speak, we translate from Mentalese into our spoken language. So we have a language of thought in our mind. When we want to say something, we translate that language of thought into our spoken language. and then we say that idea. One natural extension of this view is the proposal that everybody's Mentalese is roughly the same. However, how we translate that Mentalese, that language of thought, into the real world language, we may have different languages. For example, that Mentalese may be translated into Punjabi if we speak Punjabi, or into English if we speak English. So our spoken or written languages may be different, but Mentalese may be the same in all human beings. This is what is believed by some of the cognitive scientists.